I found this old throwback on Rush Limbaugh, 60 Minutes. I don't actually know what's in it, but let's just find out. It's going to be interesting.
If Walter Cronkite has been called the most trusted man in America, Rush Limbaugh has been called the most dangerous. And he's proud of it. On 400 radio stations nationwide, more than 7 million listeners a week hear Limbaugh lambasting liberals, railing against the homeless, beating up on feminists, gays, and those he calls peaceniks and environmental wackos.
Peaceniks. God, what a stupid name for somebody. Peaceniks. If you don't know Rush Limbaugh, he was on AM radio, which was like deprecated decades ago. Like people don't use AM anymore. They haven't in a long time. Limbaugh died like, I don't know, what was it, 5-10 years ago or something? And he got is it the Freedom Medal of Honor? It's the highest civilian medal you can get, and it can only be bestowed by the president or whatever, right? Anyway, Limbaugh celebrated when people got AIDS. He celebrated. He threw a party and named people with AIDS that died because he thought it was good. Before we had a Fox News problem, which we do, we had a Rush Limbaugh problem. AM radio has been around for so long, but I think they've removed it from cars now. He was on AM radio all through the 70s, I think, 80s, I believe, definitely through the 90s, the 2000s. Very, very popular among far-right extremists. And he was just bottom of the barrel bad. He got cancer eventually. If you don't know about this one, he famously was addicted to OxyContin and was spending like thousands of dollars a month, more than that, like tens of thousands, on just buying OxyContin. He had a massive OxyContin addiction while he was complaining about the left doing drugs or whatever other stupid thing. I mean, it was hypocrisy all the way down with this guy. Anyway, keep listening here.
Unhappily, his critics say he's proof that bigotry sells. As you're about to see and hear, Rush Limbaugh is too big to ignore.
Welcome to the Rush Limbaugh program, a program exclusively designed for rich conservatives and right-minded Republicans and those who want to be either or both.
With the torso...
Wow, he looks so young there. Interesting.
With the torso as big as his voice, this 300-pounder from Cape Girardeau, Missouri, has fashioned a blend of political satire and commentary into the most successful radio talk show in the country.
He was so deeply hateful. Everything that he said was so hateful.
You can hear him 3 hours every afternoon, virtually anywhere in America.
The views expressed by the host on this show are not necessarily those of the staff, management, nor sponsors of this station, but they ought to be.
And what are those views? Well, listen, it won't take you long to figure them out. We'll give you some help. When you hear the music Up, Up, and Away and My Beautiful Balloon, that means it's time for a condom update.
The New York City school system won a close vote recently to distribute condoms on request to any high school student in the school system who...
Good. Is that real? Probably not, but if it were, good. Lower teen pregnancy, right? Why would we want teen pregnancy? That's what that leads to, preventing people from accessing condoms.
Wants one. The budgets are so tight, they may have to cut 18,000 teachers. The message is that it is more important to give students condoms in New York City than it is to give them teachers.
Oh, that's a clever little piece of propaganda. Pitting two things against each other. Well, I got to tell you, teen pregnancy is a bad thing. Full stop. It's bad. Why would you not want to stop teen pregnancy? Seriously, first of all. And second, we can just fund the schools better, right? You know how much condoms cost? Like 6 cents or something if you buy them in bulk, depending on what you're getting and all that stuff. You can buy them for real cheap if you get them in bulk. Do you think that the 17 condoms that they're giving out to students at 6 cents each or whatever is going to, if we just weren't doing that, it would cover the pay of 18,000 teachers? Is that what you're saying? Really? Propaganda all the way down. Bottom of the barrel. Disgusting, dude. He was a bad person in his heart.
Who is this guy and where did he come from? Well, he's a twice-divorced college dropout and failed disc jockey who is waging what he calls cultural warfare, skewering liberal sacred cows, environmentalists, feminists, militant gays, and animal rights activists.
Militant gays? Militant gays. Okay. Where are these militant gays you speak of?
Often with their own material, culled from the 8 newspapers he reads every day.
Have we got fun in store for you today?
The latest news from the animal rights front is introduced with Andy Williams singing Born Free, mixed with gunfire, explosions, and animal cries. The feminist update begins with Born to be a Woman. Limbaugh doesn't like feminists much, calls their leaders feminazis. By now, you're either laughing or fuming. And to Rush Limbaugh,
No, he's a complete scumbag, obviously. He was awful.
it doesn't make that much difference.
People have called you a sexist.
Right.
People have called you a homophobe.
Right.
He is. He was both of those things. He literally celebrated people dying from AIDS.
Are you?
Oh, of course not. I'm none of those things. I am simply someone who views events in life and comments on them. I have my own version of what's right and wrong.
You've also been called arrogant and pompous.
Well, I call it confidence.
So you are arrogant and pompous. Thank you for affirming that.
And for now, he can afford to be cocky. Oracle or opportunist, he is part of the American commerce, bringing listeners back to AM radio. In New Orleans, when WWL started carrying his show, the station jumped from number 7 in the ratings to number 1. Johnny Andrews is the station manager.
In the past 25, 30 years in radio, I can only think of a handful of national radio personalities who have made an impact on local radio stations. Paul Harvey, of course, Charles Osgood. And now in the 90s, here's this guy.
He was such an obnoxious fool.
Rush Limbaugh.
I'm sad that Billy Carter's no longer. He's a great character, and he was a nice guy. And if he were still around, we'd be the dream Democrat ticket.
Wait, do you think that being a nice guy is virtuous? I got the impression he didn't believe that.
Dream ticket. Ted Kennedy and Billy Carter.
Right.
And the slogan would be, "You drink, I'll drive."
Where are you calling from, Steve?
He takes a few phone calls, usually from like-minded listeners.
Mary in Plattsburgh, New York. Hi, and welcome to the Rush Limbaugh program.
Hi, Rush. How are you
People
doing?
calling his New York studio on cellular phones get priority treatment because, he says, they must be rich. It's his talk show, and he's the talker. No guests. He says he doesn't need them.
I don't defer to the experts. I am the expert. Of course, when I stop being one, zoom. Right.
5 years ago, he was hanging on in Sacramento. Today, he's traveling by limousine, commanding $15,000 for a personal appearance.
$15,000 for a personal appearance. Damn, that's crazy.
To America's leading radio talk show personality, Rush Limbaugh.
In New Orleans last spring, 6,000 fans paid $20 apiece to listen to stories like this one about a men's club in San Francisco that was forced to admit women who then demanded their own exercise room.
A men's club was forced to accept women?
I said, fine, we'll be glad to give you your own exercise room. In fact, we'll even put the first 3 pieces of exercise equipment in there for you. They put in there a washing machine, an ironing board.
Ha 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 ha. Wow, that is so super funny. He's such a funny guy.
Vacuum cleaner. True story.
The story got a lot of applause, but not everyone's cheering. Attorney Gloria Allred, one of the country's most prominent feminists, says Limbaugh would get big applause at a Nazi rally.
I'll bet you.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. 100%. He would get big applause at a Nazi rally because the ideas he was espousing were the same types of ideas that the Nazis believed. Like, I can't believe how successfully the far right has bamboozled the general populace that the Nazis would not support what they're doing or whatever, or that they aren't Nazis. They absolutely are. One of the biggest problems with World War II kind of discussion, in my opinion, is the idea that the Nazis were exceptionally bad or evil. No, they were traditionally bad and evil. And the idea that people have that the Nazis were worse or, were the ultimate form of evil, that's about as destructive as it gets, in my opinion. They were bad. But there are absolutely people in the world that are just as bad as people from the Nazi Party. This mindset is more widespread than people realize.
Attorney Gloria Allred, one of the country's most prominent feminists, says Limbaugh would get big applause at a Nazi rally.
I'll bet you they didn't see the humor in it at all, because these people don't have any sense of humor.
He is hurting us, and I can't emphasize that enough. He is trying to make us a joke,
so that we won't be taken seriously. And part of the problem with moving the women's movement forward is the trivialization of the women's movement.
Feminism was established so as to allow unattractive women easier access to the mainstream society.
That's the type of woman-hating statement that is perpetuated over and over again.
Look, if they get mad at that, that's fine. I'm not doing what I do to make sure nobody gets mad. I can understand how that would ruffle feathers, but it isn't going to stop me.
What are you trying to do with this show?
Be a scumbag. You're trying to normalize being a scumbag, obviously.
I'm trying to attract the largest audience I can and hold it for as long as I can.
And I know that being a hateful head is the best way to do it.
So that I can charge advertisers confiscatory advertising rates. This is a business.
You're in it for the money?
Sure. Of course, I'm doing a lot of this for money. But I don't want it to just stop there. I mean, everybody does what they do for the money. If somebody tells you it's not the money, believe me, it's the money.
And speaking of money, Limbaugh will earn about $1 million this year. His Rush to Excellence videotape is expected to sell nearly 50,000 copies. And
Rush to Excellence tape. Interesting.
there are mugs and T-shirts.
Is that extra long? Rush is God.
He is so popular with his fans that 1,000 of them filled a cruise ship to tour the Caribbean with him.
1,000 people. God, how much did it cost to get one of those tickets? That's nuts, dude. I mean, don't cruise tickets already cost like $1,000 or something?
By the way, guys, check out my new shop, owenmorgan.com/shop. I have a bunch of really cool designs on there.
Hundreds waited for more than an hour just to have their picture taken with him.
I never met anyone I liked that much before, so it's a good opportunity for me.
Bro, look at this guy's aesthetic for real. He looks like Mickey a little bit, right? The fluff is unreal.
So I'm here.
Mr. and Mrs. Virtue, Rush Limbaugh.
Hi, Virtue. What a name. That could be mine too.
That could be my name too? What?
But a lot of people fail to see that virtue. They say he picks on the vulnerable. His most vocal critics are gays. Limbaugh insists he only criticizes gay politics, not the gay lifestyle.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, it's not a lifestyle. It's who you are. And second, he literally laughs at people who died of AIDS. He had a whole segment where he laughed at them. Unforgivable.
Really? You decide.
We're just gonna take
He introduces updates about gay Congressman Barney Frank with the song My Boy Lollipop.
Barney called a press conference. Barney admitting that he had an affair with Stephen Goby. And he said, quote, I was just trying to help this guy through some problems, but I got suckered. That's what drove me to My Boy Lollipop. My Boy Lollipop. Perfect. It was absolutely perfect. I don't think that is making fun of the homosexual lifestyle.
It's not a lifestyle.
I really don't. I think it's an ingenious, clever way of
being a scumbag.
Making
the
fun of
Barney
homosexual
Frank
lifestyle.
No, it was a Barney Frank update. It was nothing about the gay community.
Barney Frank's news conference is not the first thing that comes to mind when they hear My Boy Lollipop with the Barney Frank update.
Whose mind? The audience?
Right.
What is the first thing that comes to their mind?
Bull. He knows. He's being a scumbag, of course.
That you're making fun of their lifestyle.
Well, I'm not making fun of the lifestyle. I'm not the one engaging in the lifestyle, and I'm not the one who said what Barney said, and I'm not the one doing what Barney said.
No, you're the one making fun of them.
Will Williams heads a Rush Limbaugh task force for the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation.
Glad.
I don't know how more clear it can be.
He says Limbaugh is just the latest in a long line of radio and TV hate mongers.
The overwhelming majority of the American people are not bigots. And when they find out about Rush Limbaugh types, as they did about Martin Downey Jr., and when they found out about Andrew Dice Clay, they step in and such people's careers take a dive.
And you think that's what will happen to Rush Limbaugh?
I think so.
In his dreams.
Well, Rush Limbaugh did eventually die of cancer. It was a brutal death. Not that I celebrate anyone's death, I don't, but I'm just describing what happened. He got cancer, I think stage 4, and he knew he was going to die, and he was on air for the last, few weeks of his life, I think. And then that was it. He died. After making fun of so many AIDS deaths. After making fun of so many AIDS patients, then he died of cancer.
Love to listen to him. I've gotten to the point where I do my shopping and by moving around in the car in the afternoon so that I can hear him when I sit in line waiting in the bank. Usually I think it's going to lower my blood pressure and I'm going to live longer as a result of listening to it.
I think I just happen to be saying what a whole lot of people think but don't have a chance to say themselves.
And are making these ideas more widespread. This guy was single-handedly responsible for so much hate spreading through society. Disgusting.
That's why they call me the most dangerous man in America. Somebody's finally saying this stuff.
You believe that?
The most dangerous man? No, I'm a harmless fuzzball.
I think this is a dangerous fuzzball. And perhaps because he likes to sell himself as harmless, he is all the more dangerous.
I 100% agree.
Why dangerous?
Because he perpetuates many lies. And if a lie is told often enough, people begin to believe it.
Absolutely.
And lies can kill. Lies can lead to hate crimes against innocent persons.
And they did. They did lead to hate crimes against people.
That's BS. It's unsubstantiated. It's unprovable because it doesn't happen. Never once have I encouraged action of violence against anybody.
Doesn't matter what you encouraged. You celebrated people's deaths when they got AIDS. That's more than enough.
I do not accept the notion that disagreeing with the politics of any group encourages others.
No, that doesn't necessarily encourage anybody to do anything, but being a hateful, vile fearmonger definitely does cause hate crimes. I can't even believe he's denying this. Sign up for my Patreon. I'd really appreciate that very much. It would mean so much to me. This is like a really precarious moment in history, in U.S. history, and for me personally, so it would mean a lot if you sign up for my Patreon. Check out cultarchive.org. I did a cult test, basically, where you can see if you're in a cult, and you can look at the historical tests of other groups that already went through this. Also, check out my merch. I have a whole bunch of really cool shirts and stuff. Really interesting. I would really appreciate that.
To be violent against them.
I don't think that he can disclaim responsibility by saying there has to be some showing of a direct causal link.
Alred and a lot of other people would like to see Rush Limbaugh off the air. Some have even threatened to organize boycotts against his advertisers. Limbaugh calls this new sensitivity today's fascism.
He says, you're the fascist for being disturbed and disgusted by his vile behavior. You're the fascist, right?
He's just a guy on the radio.
If I were of the attitude that my primary goal was to go in that studio every day and make sure that America heard what I said and acted on it, because times are crucial. We don't have much time to save everything. You know, the ratings of this show would just plummet because the fun would go, it'd be too serious. It'd be what liberals do. They're always wringing their hands, not having any time for fun, and being critical of virtually everything.
This is a perfect example of why deplatforming is such an important tool in the fight against fascism and Nazis, in all seriousness. I used to believe that sunlight was the best disinfectant, but it's really not. And I don't believe in, I believe in the First Amendment, of course, absolutely. But deplatforming people is, the paradox of intolerance is so incredibly important to keep in mind nowadays. The idea that you should not tolerate the intolerant. The idea that if people want to destroy democracy, then they shouldn't be allowed to participate in the democratic process by running for an election, for example. You shouldn't have a candidate allowed to run if they say, I don't want democracy to exist anymore.
It matches. All right, a deal.
Yeah, a deal.
$15 US?
Yes.
So Rush Limbaugh is behaving like a true conservative, placing his faith in free speech, if not good taste, and in free enterprise. The marketplace will eventually decide.
Ah, there it is, the sobbing, symbolizing the sadness all over America as the final segment of the program today has arrived.
He's literally laughing about a girl sobbing. Like, what is wrong with him?
Gotta go. We're out of here. See you. Be good. And yet another exciting chapter of broadcast excellence in the can.
What a colossal scumbag, dude. He was disgusting. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. And tell Miki what you think, too. She'll be perusing the comments as well. Right, Miki? You can be perusing the comments? No? There we go. I just wanted you to look at the camera. Such a good kitty.